Hello and welcome back to the Military Time. Tonight, breaking news from the front lines of the Russo-Ukrainian conflict. Ukraine has struck the Crimea Bridge again, and this time it's gone deep, targeting the underwater supports. This operation, Kiev says, hits Russia where it hurts most. Its logistics, its symbolism, and its sense of invincibility. Early on 3 June 2025, Ukraine's security service, SBU, announced that it successfully carried out a carefully planned, month-long mission to plant and detonate 100 kilograms of explosives under the bridge's piers. According to Kiev, the detonation severely damaged the submerged support structures, a critical blow to what Russia calls the Kerch Bridge, which connects mainland Russia to the annexed Crimean Peninsula. Russian authorities confirmed the explosion but played it down, insisting there was no structural collapse. Still, traffic across the bridge was suspended for several hours between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. local time, according to Russian sources. From Kiev's perspective, this was not just a tactical strike, but a message. The SBU framed the bridge as a legitimate military target, arguing that Moscow has long used it as a logistical artery to supply troops in Ukraine. Lieutenant General Vasyl Malyuk, head of the SBU, reportedly oversaw the operation personally. In a bold statement, the SBU even referenced its own earlier attacks on the same infrastructure. Previously, we hit the Crimean Bridge twice in 2022 and 2023, so today we continued this tradition. Underwater? That's right, this is the third major Ukrainian strike on the bridge since Russia's full-scale war began in 2022. Why does the Crimea Bridge matter so much? For Russia, it's more than a marvel of engineering, 19 kilometers long, carrying both road and rail over the Kerch Strait. It's a core lifeline. Built after Moscow annexed Crimea in 2014, the bridge is vital for transporting troops, heavy equipment, and supplies into the peninsula. Strategically, if Kiev damages or disables that link, it not only disrupts Russia's military supply chain but also strikes a symbolic blow at Putin's prestige. The bridge was one of his signature infrastructure projects. What do we know about how the operation was carried out? According to the SBU, undercover agents spent several months mining underwater pillars. Then, in the early hours at 4:44 a.m., they remotely triggered the explosives. The blast caused water to surge, debris to spike, and, as shown in footage, sent a powerful shock through one of the support pillars. Kiev says there were no civilian casualties, highlighting this was a precise surgical operation, not a reckless bombing. On the Russian side, reaction came quickly. The Kremlin acknowledged the explosion. Yes, something happened, but denied any lasting damage. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that although there was an explosion, the bridge remains working, operating open. Critics in Russian military circles, including some bloggers, suggested the strike was carried out using unmanned sea drones rather than just fixed explosives. Still, they didn't rule out that serious structural harm may have occurred underwater, where repairs and inspections are more difficult. From the Ukrainian strategic side, this strike is being interpreted as a calculated escalation. Just days prior, Ukraine launched a daring drone campaign codenamed Spider's Web, targeting Russian air bases deep inside Russia, reportedly damaging long-range nuclear-capable bombers. That shows Kiev is not just defending, it's pressing its advantage, sending a message that it can strike even well-defended infrastructure. By hitting the Crimean Bridge from below, Ukraine isn't just inflicting physical damage. They're driving home their narrative. Crimea remains Ukrainian, and no amount of annexation or symbolism can make it permanently Russian in their eyes. On the ground, the implications could be serious. If the underwater supports are compromised, even partially, Russia may face logistical bottlenecks. Repairing underwater pillars is complex, costly, and time-consuming. Any real damage could limit what kind of loads or even whether heavy military convoys can cross safely. That bottleneck could hamper Russia's ability to resupply its forces in Crimea or push further into southern Ukraine. It also raises long-term risk. If repeated strikes continue or if future operations further degrade the bridge's structural integrity, it might force Moscow to rethink how it supplies its outposts. In the south, on the diplomatic front, the attack hits Russia in a delicate place. While the bridge is a symbol of Moscow's grip on Crimea, Ukraine's strike underlines that infrastructure alone doesn't guarantee control, especially in a protracted war. Kiev seems to be signaling that it retains very real operational leverage and that it can influence negotiations not just on the battlefield, but via infrastructural disruption. Some analysts argue that this kind of operation could pressure Russia politically. If the bridge becomes unreliable, it poses a serious problem for Moscow's narrative of stability and permanence in Crimea. From Moscow's perspective, downplaying is critical. Publicly acknowledging major damage could undermine domestic support, encourage more bold Ukrainian sabotage, or even inspire internal criticism. But if they overstate control and conceal long-term harm, they risk being caught in a dangerous lie, especially if future Ukrainian operations exploit that vulnerability. Let's also consider the message to the West. Ukraine's ability to pull off such a mission deep in enemy infrastructure, underwater, high risk, sends a signal. Kiev is fighting, innovating, and capable. That could bolster its case for continued military aid, especially when some allies worry about aid fatigue or strategic stagnation. At the same time, it's a reminder that the war is far from static. It's not just about trenches, drones, or airstrikes. It's also about supply lines, infrastructure, and clandestine operations that challenge Russia's assumptions about secured territory. As for risks, no operation is without them. Underwater sabotage is inherently dangerous, not just for the saboteurs but also for the structure. Miscalculations could lead to catastrophic collapse, risking not just military loss but civilian fatalities too. Kiev has claimed no civilian harm, but future operations may not always go so cleanly. Russia, for its part, could intensify its maritime defenses, deploy more sea mines, patrols, or even raise the financial and political cost for Ukraine to carry out such missions again. In broader terms, this strike is emblematic of Ukraine's evolving strategy, hitting deeply into Russian-held infrastructure, targeting symbolic as well as logistical nodes, and doing so with advanced, well-coordinated intelligence. It's a reminder that modern war is as much about disruption via infrastructure as it is about territory. For Russia, defending the bridge not just physically, but narratively is now more urgent than ever. If the bridge's integrity is genuinely compromised, simply restoring traffic might not be enough. Moscow may need to reinforce, reroute, and rethink its entire Crimean supply chain. To sum up tonight, Ukraine's latest strike on the Crimea Bridge is a bold, daring, and strategically significant operation. By detonating over a ton of explosives underwater, Kiev claims to have damaged the very pillars that hold the bridge, striking both a military artery and a potent symbol of Russian control. Moscow, while acknowledging the explosion, insists it's business as usual. But the fact remains, Kiev has again demonstrated it can reach deeply into Russian-held territory, disrupt vital infrastructure, and challenge Russian dominance of Crimea on both practical and symbolic fronts. This is not just one more bombing, it's a powerful message from Kiev. It still has cards to play, and it's ready to shake the foundations of Russian power where it matters most. Thank you for watching the Military Time. Stay tuned, stay sharp. We'll keep you updated as more develops in this unfolding story.